So today we're actually going to go ahead and talk about that case of Kyren Lacy. This was the guy who played in LSU football, college football, and he was accused of hitting an older person and it being a fatal accident. Okay, and this was at like an intersection. There is some new information, i.e., body cam footage of the officer in question who was the one who was on the scene, as well as some other videos from the actual scene. Okay, but first off, we're going to go ahead and look at this one video.
So crossing over the bridge, I was at UI at the time. I'm passing over and I'm looking at the stadium, all the lights on. I'm like, it was nighttime. I'm like, man, that's crazy. So I just bust out crying. Like, I know I could play that, so to get me better. Like, what am I doing off of the field? Because all the things on the field is going to take care of itself, but what am I doing off of the field? Like, am I eating right? My habits right? What am I doing off of the field that's going to benefit me to be great on Saturday? So he been helping me with that. So.
Former LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy was found dead in Houston late last night. The 24-year-old's death being investigated as a potential suicide. Lacy was a rising NFL prospect facing negligent homicide charges from a fatal hit-and-run accident that left one person dead in Louisiana last year. A grand jury was set to review the case tomorrow. His lawyer, calling the investigation a witch hunt, is demanding a full review of the case and the media's treatment of Lacy.
Yeah, so what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Never.
Any part of the district attorney's investigation that talked about Mr. Lacy getting back, I guess we call it, what do you call it, correcting or getting in your proper lane?
Sure, he was back in his proper lane according to their data. This isn't my expert. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter, their investigations. And in that investigation.
So what he was saying in that video in particular was, well, the main story was this, that he ended up causing a crash, and then it was an elderly man who died. Okay, that's what they're saying. He ended up causing a crash, and then boom, someone died. But the video is showing that a crash occurred, and he was behind the scene of the crash. So he couldn't have, I mean, we see it, he couldn't have caused the crash. But the public and what's on record and everything else is showing, well, he caused the crash, so this is his fault. But in reality, that's not what's actually being seen on here, okay? And that's what this guy is saying, like, something's not adding up, okay? Because everyone else is told this one story. Oh, this is how it happened. Yep, case closed. But when you actually look at the videos, that's not the same instance. That's not the same information that's being given. But something I do want to switch our attention over to is actually the body cam footage.
So look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, your address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. that you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what's happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? Right. And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive nature indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness, who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what's happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was going to run into the back of me, and she pulled into the other side. But there's a bigger problem.
And before he goes on, this is very important because one, you're telling someone to give a false testimony because you're saying, oh yeah, you had to go and slam on the brakes and and you had to avoid the charger in the back, and the guy's like, yeah, but one, I didn't have to slam on the brakes because I already wasn't going that fast, and two, I don't know anything about this boy. It was a woman that was in the vehicle that caused this to happen. So, but for some reason, the police officer is so hell-bent on trying to persecute Mr. Lacy.
I then obtained the actual written statement.
And this is from the Gold Truck.
This is the Gold Truck. Now, after the statement we just went through, notice I've obviously redacted names, addresses, and the cell phone number in fairness to the individual who is Gold Truck number one in oncoming traffic. See, the problem with that statement is it is in direct contravention to what was said minutes earlier. It's not written by him. And where it says signed, it's not signed. It's refused. But you see, when I have a witness who is the most critical, and he's telling you, I wasn't traveling fast. We know now that he wasn't. The data shows 2.99 seconds before that he was traveling 28 miles an hour. The data shows that.
Now I actually want to go ahead and take a look at some of the comments that people have made in regards to this case in particular. Okay. So one person said, and this is in regards to that video that we seen of him coercing the gold vehicle guy. So someone went and said he was framed by the cop, then framed by the entire police force, then framed by the crooked court, then accused by social media as well, then dropped from his NFL future, all while innocent. All this happened in 2025, but the events played out like 1925. Let that sink in. And now we find out that he is innocent. Very good analysis of that. That was all him and no one else because of what he did. Everything spiraled. He needs to get charged with something. Yes, I agree. And I believe, I know they be doing that administrative pay. You get the leave with pay. He needs to be gone. That's my opinion. All right. It says the lawyer is still fighting for the deceased side to be heard. His car wasn't damaged, so how they accuse him of the accident. The fact that this lawyer is standing 10 toes down, fighting for this young man's innocence, and he's deceased lets me know all I need to know. Yep. And that's the thing about it, because at the end of the day, if you didn't do the crime, you didn't do the crime. I am not for, locking up innocent people just because, you know what I mean? If you did not commit a crime, you didn't commit the crime. So why are we just saying, oh, well, you know what? We got to go and lock them up. That's not right. And the police force that handled this case needs to be investigated. I also think that this officer needs to be locked up. Okay. Because coercion, I don't think it's legal. Okay. So there's a few things that need to happen in regards to this. It's unfortunate that his life was taken. He took his life, because of everything that goes on. So you had not only the court system, you had the police department, but like the other lady said, public opinion, which is social media, which is your regular people out in the street saying, oh, you're terrible. I can't believe you did whatever. Even if you did not do it, and there's no evidence to even connect you to that issue. But let me know what you all think about this down below.